One thing that I've seen a lot, people tend to make a lot of mistakes when they're getting ready to go to a theme park. And especially if it involves a place like Silver Dollar City, Disney parks, or Universal, or things like that. So here are 9 mistakes I see that you should avoid. People forget to look up information about the rides, shows, entertainment, and other things that a park has to offer. At Disney and Silver Dollar City, people would walk into the park, walk up to me and say, "Does this park have any rides?" You don't know if the park has any rides and you just paid how much to walk in the door? And you don't have any clue what's even in the park? There's no excuse to go someplace and spend hundreds and honestly thousands of dollars and not have any idea what's there. Why do you want to go visit someplace that you don't know if you can enjoy what's there, or grandma or your kids? This just boggles my mind. Take some time, look up the park's website, find out what's there, what rides they have, if there's things that you can do and things you can't do, and get informed a little bit. Number 8, they don't download the app. The one thing that's true of, I believe, every theme park out there pretty much now is they all have apps for your cell phone. The Disney parks have apps, Silver Dollar City has apps, Six Flags has apps, Cedar Fair parks all have apps. That app is going to give you a map of the park. It's going to give you a listing of restaurants, of rides, of wait times. Go get the app before you even get to the park. Look it over, get familiar with it, and then when you come in the park, you're ready to go. At Disney, that app is actually used to book your fast passes, which I'll talk about here a little bit later on down the list, deal with your dining reservations, and so much more. So download the app. Number 7, people forget to prepare for the weather. I'm amazed how many people pay no attention to the weather because they make assumptions. People seem to think that Florida is always hot and humid. Newsflash, December to March? Not necessarily. I've been there when it's been 30 degrees. Florida cold is bitter cold because the humidity bites. You don't want to be stuck in that. Missouri, the weather will fluctuate constantly, and you can have 90 degrees one day and 65 the next. Watch the weather forecast and prepare ahead of time. This is true for any trip. Be prepared, because if you're coming from Minnesota and you're going down to Florida, be aware, Florida cold feels colder because of humidity, and the heat feels hotter because of the humidity. Take that into account when you're planning on wearing your shorts in December. Watch the weather. Number 6, people don't dress appropriately for in the parks. I have had to laugh at some things I have seen people wear, particularly at Disney, but I have seen this at others, where I have seen people wear clothing that just had no place at all in a park. I have seen people come in wearing boots that are very obviously uncomfortable, girls wearing high heels, tuxedos, and suits, and I mean, okay, you can wear this, but it's 93 degrees. Why do you want to wear a suit and a tie? People try to look good and they forget. We had one guy that was down at Disney who would always wear an overcoat that went down to his ankles. Dude, are you not dying? I would watch girls come in mini skirts. Okay, how are you going to sit appropriately on a ride at a family park, mind you, wearing that? I know a lot of people like to wear flip-flops at Disney. I don't want to walk 6 to 8 miles in flip-flops. Good walking shoes. Appropriate clothing that is comfortable, designed for the weather, and that you can ride in. Number 5, people don't take advantage of FastPass. Now, the system varies from park to park, has different names. You'd want to take that into account. At many parks, it's an extra upcharge, an extra cost. And so I understand if you don't want to do it there, but at Disney parks, it's free. At Disneyland, you have to go to the rides to get your FastPass tickets. At Disney World, you book it all in advance. Now, if you know me, you know I don't like the FastPass Plus system at Walt Disney World. I wish the whole thing would get scrapped. But if you want to have a decent vacation, you've got to use the system and take advantage of it. If you're staying at Disney property 60 days ahead of time, you want to book your FastPasses. If you're staying off Disney property 30 days ahead of time. You want to book your fast passes and get them booked so you can get in. Otherwise, you're not going to be riding Flight of Passage with less than a 90-minute wait, more than likely. Additionally, once you're there and you've used them, you can keep booking more fast passes on your phones. Get those fast passes and use it to your advantage. I've actually done a whole video on tips and tricks on how to get the most out of fast pass. Don't be caught not using this system, because it's going to make a huge difference in what you can do during your day. Number 4, not making dining reservations ahead of time. At the Disney parks, you've got to make reservations early. Disneyland, it can be 30 to 60 days in advance, but at Walt Disney World, you can be looking 6 months in advance depending upon where you want to book and eat. If you're wanting to eat at one of the nicer restaurants, it's probably not going to happen without a reservation, and that means booking it months in advance a lot of times, and then trying to work within the system if they don't have your opening. You're not going to get into Be Our Guest if you don't have a reservation well ahead of time. You're not going to get into Cinderella's Royal Table or to Tiffin's or some of the other restaurants that are at the Disney parks without a reservation. Book them ahead of time. Yes, it means you're going to have to do some advanced planning and extra work to do it. If you're wanting to get into those places, that's the way to do it. Number 3, not building breaks into the schedule. One thing about a vacation to the Disney parks, it is not a rest, relaxing vacation like a lot of people think. It's an adventure. If you're really going to see the Disney parks, it's open to close, long days, pushing through crowds, lines, rides, attractions, and all sorts of stuff. You gotta have a point in there to take a deep breath and take a break so you don't mentally and physically crack. For kids, it may mean a mid-afternoon where you go someplace quiet for a couple hours. Check out of the parks and just relax and take a deep breath. Find a place to sit. In the middle of your vacation, take a day off and go do nothing. On our recent trip to Disneyland, we had a day in the middle of it where we just did nothing. We ate outside, and we walked over downtown Disney, and we slept and relaxed so we could recharge a little bit for the rest of our vacation. Same thing with our last couple trips down to Florida. Pack in that time to take a breather, because you're going to need it, especially on a multiple day vacation. Don't forget your break time. It will save the tantrums and the arguments and the fights and all that other nasty stuff later. You want that. Number 2, this one is huge when planning your trips. Not looking at the events and crowd calendars. There are certain times of the year that the parks are going to be overwhelmingly busy, and people don't think about that ahead of time and then get a very unpleasant, unwelcome surprise when they arrive. The 2 weeks around Christmas is a horrible time to be at a theme park. Don't do it. I don't care if you're all off of school, so is everybody else. Saturdays in December are terrible. Thanksgiving week, July 4th weekend at many parks. Anytime that school is out and work is off, you are looking at having very large crowds, especially if the weather is good. So take that into account when you plan. A good time to plan is right after school has started, because the vacation crowds drop. September is generally a really good month. January and February used to be really good months. They still can be. If you go to Disney, you have to be very careful about the marathon weekends. There's the regular Mickey Marathon in January, and then the Princess Marathon in February, and those, along with the Martin Luther weekend and President's Day weekend, tend to be very busy. But if you can work around those, you'll have quieter times at the parks usually. So be careful of that. Believe it or not, Disneyland actually right now in the summer is actually much quieter. It's also much more expensive because they charge more. That's why it's quieter. But be aware that crowds will definitely ebb and flow, so look at the park's events calendars. See if there are special events going on that may draw in large crowds. Watch out for holidays. There are actually online park planners that will help you see some guesstimated crowd levels and help you plan around that to get the most out of your trip. Take that into account when planning your trip so you don't get a nasty surprise when you get there and find a million other people in the parks at the same time you are. Not a fun thing. The number one mistake that people make at the parks, not noticing the details. I know this is a small thing, but it's actually huge. One of the things that happens when we go to parks is we so often set our minds on, gotta get there, gotta get this, gotta do that, gotta get there, hit that ride, hit that show, hit that ride. And we forget to stop and notice the little things. Try to plan some time in there where you can just slow down and take a look around. At Disney, one of the big rules is look up. There is some amazing detail in the tops of the buildings and queues and stuff that you would never notice if you don't look up. Silver Dollar City has all sorts of little details with the signs and the theming and other small things. Don't forget to look for those. Hidden Mickeys at Disney parks is a great way to look for that. Universal has all sorts of hidden little Easter eggs and secrets in the rides. Take some time and just look around. Forget your phone, put it down, forget trying to race from one thing to the other, and just notice the small stuff. That is the kinds of things that really make a theme park worth treasuring, is those little things that you could so easily miss if you don't take the time. So there's 9 things that people make a mistake on when they go to a theme park. Did I miss some that you would suggest? I'd love to hear them. Leave them in the comments below. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? I'd like to know that too. Don't forget to hit like, share this video out there too, especially to your family and friends who are planning a vacation and they're about to make some of those same mistakes. Save them! Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well. Thank you as well to my patrons. They've helped so much in so many ways, and they get some extra perks for being part of my support team. If you want to know more about Patreon and some of those perks and how you can support me and see more videos, more input, and help me produce new stuff, check out Patreon. I've got a link in the description below. Thank you so incredibly much for watching, and God bless. If you'd like to know about my merchandise, fan pages, and more, be sure to check the description below. If you'd like to know whenever I've got a new video posted, well, make sure you hit that button right up there and subscribe. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, I've got a great one for you right here. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people here and support me financially on Patreon, well, make sure you check the link right there. There's even some extra perks for them. Thank you so much, and God bless.